Um, yeah, welcome everyone to the first 2VEMENT podcast. We are your hosts, Vengeful One and Davey D.
Hello,
Um,
hello.
yeah, this is a first time experience for everyone. Um, yeah, why don't you start by introducing yourself, sir?
Well, I am the Vengeful One in 2VEMENT. You've seen some of my videos, I'm sure. I'm famous for leveling people one level at a time.
The
Uh,
best videos, may I add.
I, yeah, maybe. and but in within the faction, I'm known as the Wikipedia. I guess I seem to
Oh man,
s- know
he is
things.
an overabundance of knowledge. If you have any questions, just go to Vengeful. He usually has the
Oh,
answer.
no, 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 no. The first thing I'll say is go to www-champions.guide. And then after
Facts.
that, if you can't figure it out, somebody in the faction will know the answer.
Yeah,
More than
yeah,
likely.
facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes to like statistics and leveling up, whatever, he's a guy because he does his little charts, his little magic. I need 1.2 million coins and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, then.
I'm very analytical, that's all.
Yeah, he's awesome. And I am Davey D, one of the other leaders in Tuvement. As Vengeful likes to put it, he says, I'm the spirit of the faction. I guess I'm the court jester, if you will.
Yeah, all of
Um,
the above. All the above. Well, basically, as crazy as he sounds on his videos, that's him all the time in Discord typing with all of us.
lies,
Yeah, no, it's pretty much
lies.
all the time. He's like the master of the emote.
Yeah,
It's
that's true. I'm not
yeah.
even going to deny that. I love emotes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
facts. Okay. I mean, this is my very first podcast. I assume this is your very first podcast as well.
Yeah.
There's no really hard line set format. We're just gonna try to like shoot the breeze and try to not make it awkward for everyone. um, I think you had mentioned we should start with our wife achievement, and I thought that was so important. Could you explain to everyone what that means, the why?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a very specific purpose. The people that are in this faction are here for a very specific purpose. As you can see on
Mm-hmm.
the screen, we're a casual place for active players. So what does that mean? Basically, there's a we believe there's a cross section of players that enjoy the game, but for whatever reason are not able to commit the time and resources to feuding, which
Right.
obviously feuding is really at the core of this game. Once you finish
Mm-hmm.
tour, why do you level your characters? Well, for feuding
Mm.
typically.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and while we do enjoy that, we're not necessarily trying to push to make it up the ranks and that sort of thing. Rather, we enjoy the game. We want to
Mm-hmm.
level our roster for the sake of leveling our roster. But honestly, we I think all of us in the faction. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm going to speak for everybody. I think all of us at some point or another, for those of us that have been around and for a few months, there's probably been a time where we're like, I'm done with this game, right?
Oh man, yes.
But
Preach.
the reason that we stick around is not for the game itself, it's for the camaraderie that we have among our
Exactly.
friends in the faction.
Exactly.
So it's just a really friendly place that we can talk about anything, but
Mm-hmm.
also get the help and advice and whatnot that we might need to efficiently level our rosters. Because those of
Yeah.
us that have been around a long time have made some very costly mistakes in terms of using resources
Mark
on guys
Henry.
that were not worth it. You're the poster child of it with your 3-star bronze Devon.
First
But
of all, Devon is an asset to the faction, and I will not have you sully his name. Let's establish that.
who took over his spot?
Who took over my spot?
No, Devon's spot on your roster for
That's
strikers.
irrelevant. Move on. That's
Okay,
irrelevant.
yeah. Devon's been retired on your roster, that's why. But anyway, so in my case, I remember in my very early days, I decided to this is back when I had, I don't know, like 20 people on my roster. I don't know. I
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
Undertaker starter pack, and I figured, oh, I got the Undertaker starter pack, so I should level him instead of Shield Striker Seth Rollins.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I in the early days, it was so hard to get tokens months ago. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
at least a little
Mm-hmm.
bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took him to 2-star silver before realizing, wow, this character really sucks. Because
Trash.
soon after that, I think I got a lucky premium pull and got Alberto Del Rio, and I realized,
Oh
and he's
man.
same 2-star silver. I'm like, why
Mm.
is Del Rio so much better? Oh, because he's got choose moves. His moves, kind
Yeah.
of tie
Yeah.
into each other. They're not. So anyway, long story short, we just believe in creating an environment that for people that are active in playing the game but don't
Hmm.
necessarily want to make the commitment to a faction that that's trying to move up the ranks, we're a good
Yeah.
home for them.
Yeah.
And that's what we are based on, and that's what we have fun doing. And we also enjoy making YouTube videos. A lot
Yeah.
of our members
Yeah.
have contributed to that, which is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to add to your point, while we are not actively trying to move up the ranks, we are not opposed to moving up the ranks, just not at the expense of people actually having fun. Because I've been in a faction before, and we'll get to my departure story. I've been in a faction before where it was so stressful during feud time. Like I didn't like how I was feeling inside of my body. So I was like, I just want to be someplace where I can still play actively, but not feel like I'm going to like implode under all of this pressure to maintain a particular faction score or you're out of the faction completely. So as stated, we're not opposed to progress, but not at the expense of anyone's well-being or fun overall.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, in this last feud, when was it? Was it this past week? I can't remember when
Yeah,
it was.
last week.
Yeah, so I think we ended up like 100 and
100, a lot higher than before
yeah, it
because we're
was.
usually like
We're
200,
usually in the
300.
200, 300
Yeah,
range because
yeah.
a lot of us will just hop in, do one token brawl to get the 40,000 coins. Yeah, at least that's what I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
and then that's it. But the last couple feuds, they've had the individual feud events, and
Mm-hmm,
being
mm-hmm.
able to get those 1-star silver tokens,
Oh
those are
man,
really helpful.
major,
Yeah, I mean
major.
it's not
Yeah.
a lot of coins that they give you, but just the 1-star silver tokens and a few TP. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
would you turn that down?
Exactly.
Um, so in doing so, depending on the strength of your roster, I think I needed maybe 2 brawls to get all those points. Some people
Mm-hmm.
need maybe
Need more. Yeah,
3 or 4.
yeah.
But we're really interested in getting everybody who wants to get those rewards to be able to get those rewards. So
Mm-hmm.
just in doing that, we managed to
Mm-hmm.
get yeah, I think we ended up around 160. And
Something like that. Yeah.
at one point we were at I think 114. I remember seeing it might have gone higher than
Yes,
that.
that was awesome. And the
Yeah,
food
and
could have ended there.
I just remember looking at that going, that's pretty cool for a faction that we're just here to, at that point, helping everybody get their
Yeah.
event
Hmm.
rewards. Really, that was the main motivation because the event rewards are better than the actual faction feud rewards. So,
I think now that you mention it, that is a very key important thing. The reason we ranked so high is because we were interested in helping each other. We weren't interested in our own agenda. Okay, we got to be the number one. We got to be the best. It goes back to the why of the faction, having that sense of community and caring for each other. Is like, hey, I'm like a couple thousand points short. Can somebody hop in and help me get my rewards? And we did that for each other. So we weren't focused and stressed on the feud. We were actually focused on helping each other. And it was, for me, I felt happy being able to help people, even though I had my stuff like 5, 6 brawls ago. So yeah, this is a very positive community to be a part of.
absolutely. I mean, I think you and I both had. I remember Turtle Milker at the end was like, "There's like 20 minutes left, and he needs to get." He was away
Yeah,
and all weekend or whatever, and needed to get
yeah.
his points, and we rallied. We put in our job squad of
Mhm.
legends or whatever it was, and and just let him have at it. And
Yeah,
he got
yeah,
his reward. We put
yeah.
our guys in there, but didn't actually attack anybody so that he could get his reward.
Get all of
It's
his
just,
points.
but
Yeah,
like you said, it's just the why of the faction. I don't think we planned on it being that way, but it just ended up being that way.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, I think that would be a good segue point. We can discuss what Tuvement was like, how we found Tuvement, and then how it evolved into what it is today. Did you want to go first, or me, or
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe I'll give the backstory,
okay,
and then you joined the faction before me, so you can talk about your story, and then I'll join. I'll talk about how I joined after that. But basically, it was originally formed as an unofficial NL faction. So we
which is
have
New Legacy?
right, and I think we had, and it was formed by Bob Boberson,
Yeah.
and I think we have maybe two or three of those original members. Summon
Hmm.
Four Gods being one of them. Marco Enigma, I think, was another early one, as well as Turtle Milker.
Hmm.
Um, so they were the very early stages of what this faction was, but it was built around, like NL, New Legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about when you joined.
Well, first of all, I gotta go way back. So I first saw this game as an advertisement. No, that's a lie. I saw this game on a YouTube video when it was first released in like Australia or something like that. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I went to the App Store. It wasn't there. I was like, whatever. Then in January of this year, I believe, they announced it was available. So I signed up for it, and I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like doing tutorials. So doing the tutorial is like, okay, I won't be on this game long at all because this is too much math. And they asked me for a name. Every name I chose, it told me it was unavailable. So growing up, my grandmother used to call me Davey, and I hate the name Davey. It's like my name is Davion. Call me Davion. Do not call me Davey. So it's like I'll just choose Davey D because I won't be on this game for long at all. Well, months later, here I am, but that's besides the point. So I joined this faction called the Pirates. I didn't really understand the game, the purpose of factions, and um, it was pretty lame. Like it was half empty, and I was like, I'm just leaving. And then I just stumbled across Tuvement when I put in search. It's like, okay, that's an interesting name. And I didn't have any knowledge of NL, New Legacy, or anything like that. I just wanted to see if the environment would be different from where I came from. And like you said, Bob Boberson was the leader. I think when I got there, Summons and Turtle were already there, but I really didn't have the understandings of the mechanics and dynamics of how to operate in a faction until like you guys would say, hey, like I would see frequent regular names like you, Summons, Turtle mainly, and then like we would heal each other. You were the first person actually who taught me about tanking in verses in order to get my rewards and whatnot. So at that point, having no knowledge of new legacy, it was just another part of the game for me. It wasn't the community aspect we have now. It's like, oh hey, these are these people that I talk to give me heals. And I believe that the more we interacted and the more closer we got with each other, we realized, okay, faction chat isn't working out. We're gonna have to need to find another
Right,
outlet.
right.
And I'll just let you tell your part of the story to catch up to where I am.
Yeah. So basically, while all that was happening, with you finding that, so I downloaded the game. I think I downloaded it during the Royal Rumble, when I
Hmm.
first saw the earlier this year. When I first saw
Hmm.
the advertisement, I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. I
Yeah.
don't mind having a new mobile game to play when
Yeah.
I'm on the toilet. Um, so,
Mhm.
I downloaded it, but I didn't actually open it. I don't think for another week because,
Mhm.
looking at, I don't know, my number of days played, and like Summons days played, he's got a few days ahead of me, and I think it's because I started a few days after the Royal Rumbles when I actually opened it
Mhm.
and went through the tutorial. And I started, and just for the, so I once upon a time was obsessed with Candy Crush. I,
Oh, yeah.
I, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. There was a point in time at
Yeah.
when they were up to like level 500 or something that I had actually 3-starred every level up
Oh
to
my
500.
god.
Yeah, and because I was obsessed with being like at the front of all my Facebook friends that were in the game. So
Yeah.
anyway, but after a while I realized like these levels are getting so ridiculous that you have to basically play it several times just to get randomly get the
Hmm.
board that you need in
Yeah.
order to have a
Yeah.
chance to
Yeah.
maybe, and I was just like, this game is stupid. So I stopped playing. And I think like 2 years passed or something.
Oh
And then
wow.
this game comes out, and I'm like, hey, another gem matching game. I don't mind that. But
Hmm.
with wrestling, that's cool. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I downloaded the game. I started playing it like a week later, and I really started enjoying it.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't quite understand this whole faction thing. Like, what's the point of it?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
don't even. I mean, I guess there were Vince missions for like joining a faction, giving heals. I don't even remember
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
honestly.
Exactly.
But I joined. I joined a faction called. Well, there were a few factions that I joined in the beginning that were just empty. So then I left. The only one that I stayed in for maybe a month or so was one called P1 Club, and
Phenomenal one
yeah, like
club.
Phenomenal One Club,
Hmm.
and just because they had a full, like 100 people, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they had a full 100 at the time. I'm sure it's dead now, but I haven't looked. But at the time, it was so there were people there. I got this concept of like putting out heals, but nobody healed,
Hmm.
nobody talked.
Hmm.
There was occasionally a faction gift. I had no idea what that was. But I just got, after maybe a month or so into the game, I just realized whatever this faction feature is supposed to be, this is clearly not it.
Right.
Being in
Right.
this
Right.
faction, because nobody talked. I didn't know anybody there.
Right.
So then I left, and then I joined another one, and that was for maybe a day, or that didn't work out. So I left, and I was
Hmm.
just like going through the game trying to, and I wasn't on Reddit at the time, right? So
Hmm.
I was just searching the game, whatever factions it would feed up on the list, and I just
Yeah.
tried a few different ones, and maybe stay there for a day or less, and to see if people would talk or anything. Nothing.
Hmm.
And then the
Wow.
game one day randomly, as fate would have it, served me up 2VEMENT, and I was like, this is a stupid name, but it looks active, and the other ones in this list are not active.
Yeah.
It had less than 50 players or something, and so anyway, I jumped in, and
Hmm.
yeah, and it didn't take long. Like, I joined the faction, and I think you or somebody else might have been somebody that actually said welcome, Vengeful One,
That would
right?
most likely be
That
me.
was probably you, right? And then
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then somebody bought a faction gift, and you guys are all, thanks for the gifts,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's pretty cool. These guys are talking.
Yeah.
So then I talked back a little bit, and this is all within the faction chat, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you, Turtle Milker, Summon, you guys were like the core of the active group that would chat there. So then we would talk, like you said, about versus strategy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think it was when Faction Feud got released. That's when the faction
Yes.
chat
Yeah.
totally screwed up. It was
Yeah.
just jacked up. So people would talk, they wouldn't show up. And that was when I think it was Turtle Milker that said we should use Discord. Or somebody said Facebook, and we're like,
I said
no.
Facebook,
You said
and Turtle said,
Facebook.
"Ew."
Yeah. And we're like, no, we're not using Facebook. And Turtle said, let's use Discord. And I'm like, what's Discord? He's like, oh, look it up. It's a gamer chat app. I'm like, okay, cool. So I looked it up, and I was like, okay, Turtle, you want to set it up? He's like, no. So I'm like, all right, I'll set it up.
Oh
Um,
man.
he said later, he's like, I just didn't want to be responsible for it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
thanks, buddy. so anyway, I set it up, and for I would say for a good month, it was really just you, me, Turtle, and Summon. That was our
Yep.
Discord.
Yep. Four
And
horsemen.
the Four Horsemen, yeah. And we just it was, but that's where I think the culture really solidified, because we were able to talk more. We were able to get
Hmm.
familiar with each other, what we do for a living, where do we
Yeah.
live, talk about
Yeah.
different things. And it wasn't even around wrestling, or not even around the game all the time.
Right.
But and I don't remember exactly the time frame. I think it was probably what, March or so at that point.
March,
Maybe
Aprilish.
April, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then it
Yeah.
wasn't too long after that that we started kind of pushing Discord a little bit more, but we can get into that. But that's kind of I think in the end, if I summarize it, 2VEMENT I went between like 11 factions before I found this one as my 12th one.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
Wow. I
but it was
probably
dumb luck, man. It was totally dumb luck.
I would have to say the same. I probably stayed in my first faction longer than I needed to because I was scared of change. I was like, okay, what if I leave this and end up in an even suckier faction? But I was like, you know what? If you don't take the risk, you'll never know. So once I got into this one and met this core group of people that were pretty cool, that were actually helping each other with tips and whatnot, I was like, okay, I found a good place.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. And
Yeah.
it's it's been a good ride, and we've definitely grown and done a lot of different things since then, but yeah, so where do you want to go from there?
We could actually talk about how I became leader, which
Oh
is an
yeah,
interesting
yeah. So
story.
so Bob Boberson was really the leader, but
Yeah, the
um,
original founder.
yeah, the original
Which,
founder. He well, actually, before he ended up slowing down, I think he actually made you a leader, correct?
yeah, so this is how it happened. So in the first faction I was in, Pirates, I think somewhere out of the blue I got promoted to like enforcer. I was like, okay, this is a thing. I didn't know promotions were a thing. So when I came to this faction and I was like, putting in a lot of work and feud and whatnot, I just randomly put out there, so what's a guy got to do to get a promotion? And then I was promoted to enforcer. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I think me and a couple other people, I'm not sure who. And then I was always asking Bob, hey, would it be cool if you do such and such for the faction? If you say such and such in a message, like I'm always thinking of ways to make it better. And then I got promoted to officer. I was like, okay, now I can send messages myself. And this was going on for like a few weeks, always asking him for permission, what he can do better to help people, whatnot. And one day I was at the chiropractor and I stand up on the, you know what the vibrating plate is? It's
Yeah.
like a vibe plate. I was standing on the vibe plate, and usually when I'm on the vibe plate with my head weight, I would take out my phone and read the faction chat. And then I saw you message, "Behold the King of Kings, Davey D." And I'm like, what is he talking about? Just like random out of nowhere.
I forgot about
And,
that.
and then everybody was like, congrats, congrats. I was like, what are they talking about? And then when I got home and actually was able to pull up my phone, I saw that I was the leader. I was like, whoa, where did this come from? Like Bob just be throw the throne onto me. And he had told me like basically like, I have a more invested interest in the game, and he just thought it was better if he gave the reins over to me. I was like, okay, I wasn't looking for this at all, but if you trust me to have it, then cool. And I guess fast forward to the Discord with the main four, which is me, you, Summons, Turtle. I believe I have promoted you guys to enforcers and officers, if I am correct.
Yeah,
Because
I
at
think you
that
made
time you
all of
could,
us officers.
yeah, and you could only have one leader at a time, I believe, right?
Um, no, I think it was two or something
Oh,
because
it
I
was.
remember Bob was still a
Oh,
leader and you were
yeah, you're
also a
right.
leader.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, but because I remember you saying that I was like the Ric Flair of the group, and Bob was like the manager of the Force Horsemen, just like a
Yeah,
figurehead. But I was
right.
really the person putting in work. So, do we? Now that we're here, do we talk about why I left for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean you might as well because right before then is when you promoted me.
Oh yeah, so like I was getting really down and tired on this game with the litany of dupes you're pulling every week, and it just felt like the game was screwing me over. Like I felt like the game was playing me and I wasn't playing the game. And I got to a really low place. I just didn't enjoy the game anymore. And every time I log in Discord, I would feel disconnected, but you guys were also happy, like the little kids frolicking, yay, yay, yay. And you always stood out to me as someone who had leader qualities. And I remember hitting you up as like, hey, would you be interested in becoming leader? And you're like, nah, you're doing a great job. I think someone like you who grinds a lot should, be leader because you're a great example to people who are like free to play. Because your rationale was is that you pay. And I was like, I don't care about that. I can see like the qualities in you, but you turn it down. I was like, okay, I guess I'll hold on a little bit longer. But as the days went on, I was becoming more and more disheartened by the game. It's like I wasn't even logging in as much. I didn't even really care as much. And I really felt like I didn't have anything to contribute to the faction culture. Like I was just in a very dark place. So before I left, I distinctly remember promoting summons from enforcer to officer, and then I promoted you to leader, and then I just left the faction. I didn't say goodbye, I didn't say anything because I felt like I wouldn't have been missed anyway because I wasn't contributing to the culture like I was saying. So I just left. I had no intentions of returning to the game. Like I was done, triple done with this game, and that was that. And for like a week or two, I was fine not playing the game. I started back playing Angry Birds, and then I started to get the itch again. So it's like, what is similar to Champions but not Champions? Oh, let me play this Marvel version that was kind of similar, like the basic concept of Champions, and it was trash. And I forced and tried myself to like it, but no, I forced myself to try to like it. Talk much, and it was just I just couldn't. And then I decided to come back to Champions, and I was like, there's no way I can go back to 2VEMENT because I just up and left. They'll never have me back. So I
Yeah, I mean,
hopped around.
you were you left like in the middle of the
Yeah,
night. You're just
cold
gone.
turkey. Like dad going out for carton of milk at the store and never came back.
Yeah,
Just
pretty much.
cold turkey. Well, actually, I should mention, I said to myself, if I'm going to come back to playing champions, I'm not going to let the game play me. I'm going to play the game. So I'll just join a top faction. I know they're going to give out tons of gifts and they'll probably be ranked high in feud. So I'll get lots of rewards. At least I'll feel like I'm getting some return on the investment I have made and will be willing to make in the game. So I did join a couple top factions. Getting those faction gifts and feud prizes were nice, but I felt like an outsider even while I was there. Like some of them were nice to me, but I felt like I was in a place where I was tolerated and not appreciated. And even though I jumped from like maybe two or three top factions, like my heart was always with 2VEMENT. I was like, I wonder what Vengeful is doing. I wonder what Summons is doing. I wonder how they're doing, and I would like check in faction search to see how you guys are doing. And I would obviously like the core members like were always online, but the faction wasn't looking in good state in terms of like roster count and active online days. And I was like, oh man, I know these guys are so much better than this. They
Yeah,
can do so much.
we had a 50-day inactivity policy. So
Yeah,
you get to 51 days, we're gonna kick you, but you could be idle for
yeah,
40 days, and
yeah,
it was yeah, that was a weird time. But we had a full
yeah.
roster, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really miss you guys. As much as fiscally rewarding as it was being with a top faction, there was an emotional and camaraderie deficit. It's like I'm gonna take the risk and reach out to you, and you can fill in the story until that point.
Yeah, so when after you left, we were all like, "What happened to Davey? Man, I hope he's okay." Um, I think I messaged you on Discord, but I think you had either
Yeah,
uninstalled it or something at that point.
all
And
of that. Yeah.
yeah, so we're just like, all right. Um, so I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm the leader now.
Yeah.
Crap. uh, and at that point, honestly, like I was pretty busy outside of the game, like in real life kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
but at the same time, you know, the we had a good group of active guys. I think it was around that time that I mean, we had started advertising on Reddit, and we had some really wonderful additions around that time, including Nelson and a few others. And then I think it was after that that you left because you knew
Yeah,
Nelson and whatnot.
yeah,
Were you
yeah.
around when Nelson left, or had you left by that
No,
point?
no. When I had left before that.
Okay, uh, so you left, and then basically we got an influx of new people that were really
Hmm.
wonderful. They really fit our culture, but then slowly they also started disappearing. Um,
Ah,
and uh, and then come July, like late June and into July, that was probably one of my lower points because in just for terms of the game itself and the
yeah.
enjoyment, because I got hit with the trainer bug. And for those of you that don't
Man.
know about it, it was this lovely bug that if you had a trainer assigned to somebody and you enhance them, that not only would that trainer get deactivated from whoever he was training, but you couldn't remove that trainer from that guy. So
Yeah.
I excitedly leveled up Xavier Woods, who was on AJ Styles,
Oh
to
boy.
3-star silver. Because I was like, yes, I can get that that 5,000 points to get the 4
Hmm.
MP boost. And lo and behold, not only did he not give, I mean, he basically was, it looked like he was stuck to AJ, but he wasn't giving him the boost, and I couldn't remove
Right.
him. And so here I was with my best character, and I didn't have the MP trainer for it. It was so frustrating. But that
Hmm.
was okay, it's a bug. But then I reached out to support, nothing. Reached out in multiple
Yeah.
ways, nothing. And then finally, I would get some reply, some canned response, and then say we're looking into it. And I do it through in the game and through email.
Hmm.
I get
Hmm.
different responses from each person. And then finally, in the game thing, it said, like the game help section, it said, this is a known issue. We're resolving it on a case by case basis. And
Wow.
I knew some people in in Reddit that had said, yeah, I got it resolved. They had to escalate my case to the engineering team. Like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'll just have to get them to do that. And I could not get that. Like, I literally told them, in your own help section, it says it needs to be resolved on a case by case basis. Please escalate. And they would not do it. And it was unbelievable. And it went on for more than a month. And I was
Good
so
God.
frustrated. And I was just like, man, if there was anybody in this faction right now that I felt like, I was really busy again. So I didn't know if I wanted to just quit and hand over the reins to someone else. I was thinking about it, but I was like, you know what, this will get resolved, and I do enjoy this game.
Yeah.
So if I take that frustration out of it, so let's just wait it out. And I still remember the day in August where I wake up like early. I was I don't know. I think I woke up at like 4:30 or something, and unintentionally, and I was like, well, it's too my alarm's going to ring in like half an hour anyway, but
Hmm.
when you wake up and your eyes are all fuzzy and you don't know if you're really still asleep or if you're
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're like awake or dreaming or something, you're in that semi awake state. Then I look
Yeah.
over at my phone and I think somebody had messaged, you know, uh, faction bug is or the trainer bug is resolved, and then I see
Hmm.
another message in Discord, a private message from Davey D, and I'm like,
Ooh, ooh.
I'm seriously dreaming. What? Like those two things happen on the same day.
On the
A
same day,
1 month
yeah.
saga with the training bug, and then you came back after like 3 months or so,
Something
and
like that, yeah.
yeah, so I was like, this can't be real. And but I opened it, we started talking. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe you're back. Because here's the thing: when you were gone, we still grew,
Mhm.
um, but we still had a lot of inactive players and whatnot, and we just didn't know what you're supposed to do with that. Like, maybe
Yeah,
somebody would leave the game for 40 days and come back. The truth is, no. If somebody's out of the game for 20 days, they're gone.
they're
Like
gone, yeah.
usually 10 days, they're still gone.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, but we didn't know that, and we're just like, oh, let's just we're nice, we'll
Wait it out,
wait it
yeah.
out, maybe they'll come back, and they never did. um but what yeah so when we were at that state, I just remember like people would be either asking for heals and nothing would happen,
Mhm.
um or just there were just sections of the day in Discord when nobody would say anything for hours, and it was just
Wow.
weird because that had never happened before.
Right.
But it was starting to happen, and I remember that. And then I took a little um, vacation from Discord for a couple weeks as I had some
Oh.
personal things but it was a planned thing. I told them, I'll be
Mhm,
off
mhm.
because I got to focus on some stuff,
Yeah.
real life, and but I'll be back on this day. So so I don't know exactly what happened during that time other than player's choice happened. And I
Oh.
just got
Oh, man, yeah.
the
Mhm.
like, oh shit, I gotta
You gotta
hop
hop
on
in
for
on this
I gotta hop
action,
in for this one. But other than that, I was kind of away anyway. But the point is that you came back, and it was kind of like, okay, does he just resume leadership, or obviously you're going to be part of the officer group, but you had all
Mm,
these great ideas, and that I think is when we really started flourishing. Like let's cut the inactive players because people are looking for an active place. Nobody wants to join a
right.
faction where half the roster is inactive, and
Exactly.
advertisement logo or banners and whatnot for on Twitter,
Branding.
and you
Yep.
would
Yep.
you would share about our faction on Facebook, and eventually down the line we started doing YouTube, which has been clearly the most successful
Yeah.
way of reaching out and helping people and attracting like-minded
Yep.
gamers. So
Uh,
but anyway, yeah. So you came back, and soon after that, people were like, "Yeah, we remember Davey." Well, at least the people that were here before,
the
and
originals.
yeah, we were all on board with you being a co-leader, and then you and I have pretty much taken that co-leader status. At the same time, our officer group is pretty much, we talk about everything together. We make sure that
Yeah.
we it's really the leader status is more in terms of what we end up doing for the faction, but realistically in
Hmm.
terms of direction and the principles that we run by, everything is we our council of officers, and we really try to
The
make it a faction.
Tuvement Tribunal.
Yeah, the two-man tribunal. We really try to make it a faction for the people,
Yeah, for
by
the
the
people,
people.
by the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that was my
In
long-winded.
all honesty,
Hmm.
when I came back, I didn't expect to be leader again. I was completely fine with being an officer because I didn't think I deserved to be leader again in the manner that I left. And even to this day, I still see you as the leader because you held on to the reins while I was away. You still kept the ship afloat. And you know, it was just a responsibility that was just tossed upon you and you still handled it well. So um I was happy for any position you guys had for me because like I said, my heart was always here. Even though it was someplace else. I was like, what's Vengeful doing? What's Summons doing? Kind of thing. So yeah, man, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that we've experienced growth and an exponential evolution. So much so that we have a lobby for friends of Tuvement because we've become quite a curiosity where people are interested in what we're doing. They may not want to leave their faction, but there's still an open place for them to come and interact with us. Um, what else? Like you said, the YouTube. I don't think any other faction has their own YouTube. Every YouTube I've ever seen is one person from a faction, maybe one or two from a faction, but not a joint effort. And I believe our strength and our allure is our diversity because there's a what's the word I want to say? I kind of liken it to like confetti. There's a bunch of different personalities, but together they work and it's a beautiful thing. Like I truly enjoy your videos. They're very informative. I enjoy Marco Enigma's videos because he has that BBC commentator voice, and I feel like I'm a kid again watching like National Geographic or something.
It's so true.
Uh, 62 Mass with his little potty mouth. I mean, we're a good set of people, and
I
you know,
62. He, I just remember, I just remember and in that video that he was going off with his potty mouth. It was like he was trying to be quiet, I think, because his family was sleeping. So
yeah, yeah,
he's like
yeah,
whispering, like, "What the fuck? This is terrible fucking shit." It was
yeah,
just so fun. Anyway, sorry, side note, but it's true. Like we all have very different personalities and strengths, and
yeah.
there are times that I'm like, man, I'm doing this video and I wish I was half as entertaining as Davey. Well, shit, like 1/10 as entertaining as Davey, but I'm just, okay, you know what? But what I'm doing here is explaining my thought process, and
Yeah,
that's the value that I bring here in this video.
it's very important. Yeah,
Your videos, on the other hand, I'm like, if I've already played the Saturday morning tour, I don't care to really watch you play the Saturday morning tour. But what I do enjoy is your commentary around it. So when you say, when you talk about what's happening in that moment, then
uh-huh.
I'll tune in and say, oh, what happened to that 5 match, or
Oh, okay.
watching Devon get his ass kicked or something, and
First of
just
all, rude.
okay, yeah. Well, I just had to throw that. Okay, well, for the record, this is actually a very important thing. Going back to the history of Davey leaving. So when you left, right? One of the things that we preach in our faction to the new players is when you're leveling your roster, focus on one guy per class and
Oh my
make that
god.
guy count. And then if you have a guy that's in the top tier, like overall, focus on them and their trainers first, and then focus on everybody else. And because you spread your tokens thin. It takes forever to level a guy to
Yeah.
3-star bronze if you're leveling every powerhouse to 3-star silver. And so
Yeah.
anyway, so you join the faction and you have a freaking 2-star silver Mark Henry. You're like, I don't, I'm OCD. I gotta get everybody at the same
Oh
level,
my
and they can't have the
god.
little green arrow next to that because I gotta use all of the
Oh
TP
my god.
to maximize. They all have to say max across their face. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then the biggest egregious one of them all, you took Devon Dudley, who I love him as a wrestler, watching him and the Dudley Boys, but in the game, he is one of the worst characters in the game.
Oh my
They
god.
designed him with no coordination of his move sets. He's got a
Oh
high
boy.
charge move that for power gems, and power gems are damage over time. So it's like, okay, on turn 4 you'll get your power gems, and it's going to take 3 more moves after that for that to do any real damage. And by that
Oh
time,
my
Devon
god.
has lost like 3 matches. You know,
Oh
by the time.
my god.
So anyway, so you come into the faction, you come back to the faction with a 3-star bronze, three 3-star bronze Devon Dudley, and we've never let you live that one down.
Okay, I
Because if
need
you had been with us that whole time while you were
no.
gone, that would have never happened. Never. We would have never
Okay,
let that happen.
okay. Here's the story about that. I need to set the record straight and clear the air. People will judge you for the choices you make, not knowing the options you had to choose from. I had as a striker Undertaker, Triple H, or Devon, and popular misconception was is that I had this 3-star bronze Devon outside of the faction. No, this was inside the faction, and it was all my fault because when I came back and I was made leader, and you guys were talking about leveling up and all this kind of stuff, I felt it would have looked silly for me, a leader, to be like, "Hey guys, what do you think about me leveling up this character?" Yada yada yada. I felt I had to make a calculated decision, so I come. Undertaker wasn't even in the conversation. It was between Devon and Triple H, and I was like, okay, Devon has power gems, and I need somebody for an Attitude Era requirement. I guess I'll go with Devon. And there ends the never-ending joke. Well, not there ends. There begins the never-ending joke of me having a 3-star bronze Devon. Um, those were my choices: Undertaker, Triple H, or Devon, and I
Well,
chose the
you
lesser
didn't
of
have
three
Striker
evils.
Seth at the time.
I did not. I
You didn't.
did
You didn't have.
not.
I know you didn't have Bray Wyatt because you just got him more
No,
recently. But
those are
here's
my.
here's what we. This is what I've started telling our newer members that started the game. Maybe a month or two ago. Um, Having gone this far, what 9, 10, or 11 months into the game now,
Yeah.
um,
Wow.
or 10, whatever, something a long time. Um, what I realize is that in the tour, you see, oh, striker required, and you're like,
Hmm.
crap, I need to get a striker that I can use to get past this. Excuse me, this level.
Yeah.
If I could go back and do it over again, I would not focus on tour. I would focus on the LT tours because they have less of those character
Mm,
requirements. The
mm.
daily class tours don't have character requirements. So if you
Right.
get, let's say, the Shane contract and you got a 2-star gold Orndorff, or right now everybody gets a, assuming they fix this talent up thing, everybody gets a free, so to speak, uh, Arn Anderson, right? 2-star
Yeah.
gold. if I started over, I would take that 2-star gold Arn Anderson and I would just beat all of the limited time tours. And if I got stuck somewhere on the tour, I would just stop there and not
Mm,
upgrade, you know, Striker Undertaker or whoever else to or
yeah,
Neville or just because he was on the roster and I needed that requirement fulfilled. Rather, I would wait
yeah,
until just keep playing the game, accumulate resources, tokens,
yeah,
TP,
yeah,
coins, and give
exactly.
yourself a chance to do premium pulls or collect hats to do these mega pulls. And then when you get a guy that's worthwhile, like a Stardust or an Alberto Del Rio or
Oh
a
man,
Bray
yeah, you'd be
Wyatt
good
or
to go.
Big Cass or Enzo, you look at the tier list and say, okay, this is a very valuable character. This guy, Enzo, will become my number one showboat. Will he help in every aspect of the game? No, but will he help in various aspects that I need? Yes. Or I have to choose between Roman Reigns or Batista. Both are going to be very good for you at 3 stars, depending on which other trainers you have. But,
Hmm.
you know, uh, if you are patient enough, you will get Cass at one point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you can get Cass and Rusev and Wyatt, that will be way better for you in the long run. So going back to you and your striker dilemma, the smart thing to do would have been to upgrade
Exactly.
none of them because they all suck.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I already had Booker T for Attitude Era, requirement, but I
Oh,
wanted
okay. So
one.
your little Devon fulfilled attitude era was not even a valid thing. You had Booker T. I forgot about that. He was your best guy for a while.
Why are you coming for me right now?
I'm just saying, man. Like the world needs
Yeah,
to know about your
mistakes were
3-star
made.
brawn Devon.
Mistakes were made.
Well,
He's
it's
the
okay.
OG now. He can
Yeah,
sit back on the porch and
he's
tell Bray
retired now.
Wyatt,
It's true.
back
He's
in my day.
back in
Yeah,
my day. Strikers didn't have Titus O'Neil training him on 2 different
and
moves.
and feed moves and
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's fun. You know what though? We have learned so much through our own
Oh yeah.
mistakes that we're able
Oh
to.
yeah.
I think we had a question this morning about I hit one of our members. He's ready to take us his 2-star gold King Barrett to 3-star bronze,
He's like,
and
nope,
that
don't
would
do
be
it.
that would be his second 3-star bronze, and it would even be a tag partner for Sheamus, League of Nations bonus, and all that. So I mean, it would be a huge upgrade for him, but Wade Barrett is a good trainer, and that's
He's
it.
not. Yeah.
And it was
And
like so.
he has big cast, right? At 2-star gold or
Oh yeah,
silver,
that was
something like
right.
that.
He had just pulled Cass like last week, and he was unleveled, and it's like, dude, I know it sucks to start over, but it's
But
gonna
yeah,
be worth it because those tokens are gonna be so hard to reacquire.
exactly.
So it's better to just play. If you play the long game in this game, things work out a lot
That's
better.
the thing. Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing that with tour, if you make your decisions based on how to get through tour, you're going to end up regretting a lot of things down the road. So what I
Exactly.
ended
Yeah.
up doing halfway through the tour was, oh, you know what? I'm stuck on tricksters. Like I can't get past. And I was like, should I upgrade Sheamus? Should I upgrade? And I didn't. And
Hmm.
then RN Jesus was kind to me and gave me Undisputed Future Seth Rollins. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, I guess all my trickster requirements are all of a sudden not a big deal at all,
Right. Right.
or any other requirement because he's so good. But that's really like that's how I would do it over again. Is I would not make decisions based on where I was stuck in tour. So anytime we
Yeah.
get that question, like, well, I can't get past this stage, what's your goal? Is your goal to beat
Hmm.
tour? Is your goal to build a roster that will
Yeah.
help you through verses and the limited
Yeah.
tours and
Yeah.
gauntlet blitz and feud and all that stuff?
So
So
vital. Yeah.
yeah,
Mistakes
so
were made. Yeah.
tour is a good resource for those first time rewards later on as you go through it. But building your roster, it takes foresight. It takes a lot of patience, but
Oh man. Yeah.
I think that's where it's one of the places where our faction just shines, though, because a lot of us have almost every character in the game, and we
Hmm.
can tell you about how they play at different levels and whatnot. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think we're coming up on time. Well, we did pass time a long while ago, but I was having such a good time with you. I didn't say anything. We should
Wow,
start to
48
round it up.
minutes. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
um, I could like give an inaugural faction shout out, listing all the names of all the people in the faction.
Go for it.
You think that'd be cool? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna start with who's online. Astro Keep 2000, Blairlos, David D, Gnome
Well, hold
84.
on. Did you just give a shout out to yourself?
What did you say? Your audio went out.
Did you just give a shout out to yourself?
Of course, that's standard. That's standard. You acknowledge greatness. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, Millhouse 64024, Planky. Planky is the example of the kind of recruits we wanted. Well, not wanted, we want. We just set up that we only accept faction requests via Discord because we've been having a few people who don't read. They send faction requests in game, then they get in the game, and while we're happy with helping newcomers and people understanding the game, they ask very basic common sense questions. I know there's no such thing as a stupid question, but when they come in groups like a flock of stupid questions, then you have to say, okay, is this person actually trying to learn? So we have to set up new parameters to kind of filter the kind of people we want that will actually learn and not ask repeat questions. And when you give them advice, they still do whatever they want to do. So Planky, he followed protocol. He even private messaged me. So please, if you want to join our faction, join us on Discord first and then send in game. Anyway,
Just
summon
for the
for.
just for the
Mhm.
record, when Davey talks about stupid questions, one of the real life questions that we got last week was, in the inventory when you get like blitz tickets max or whatever, we were asked, "What does max mean?" Or,
Bruh.
and here's the second one: I just got a glitzy robe token. What do I do with that? I mean, it tells you how to do that in the tutorial.
In
So
the tutorial.
when we're talking about helping you, we're talking about, the higher level difficult questions like who should I spend my precious resources on? That
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or what's the best move set for so and so? I've
Yeah.
studied the tier list and I'm thinking
Mhm.
this might work better. Or I don't have this trainer, what's the best? Like those type of things. Those are the like difficult questions to figure out on your own. It's good to get other people's thoughts. So anyway,
Yeah.
when we were saying stupid questions, that's what we meant. And really, by having so in the game, if you search for us, it says join Discord first. That is basically to weed out anybody that doesn't read instructions. Because
Yeah.
if you asked for to join in the game and you didn't read the instructions, you're just going to get rejected.
Auto reject. Yeah. Okay. Summon for gods. Vengeful one. I shouldn't mention you because you just gave me crap for mentioning myself.
That's cool.
62 Mass, Afagaviria, Henri, Ashton Fortune 18, Barcelona 10, Blaze 257244. Is this Celadon Earn? I never know how to pronounce it.
I think so.
Yeah. Chris for 2069. Dappy 213226. Big token Dappy. Divesh, Doran Vandy, FFS 33001, Funkmaster Boo, Giancarlo 72389, Gravedigger 99, Hitesh Batra, I'm the Terminator, Jerichoholic 1, John Marchand, Jonathan Frost, Justin QPR, KG, Kevin K, Madbo 310, Marco Enigma, Mario 3297, Marifen, Nelson Denti, Nicky Rock. Let me just say this was a good idea when I said I wanted to do this, but actually having to read all these names is a bit much. Arson Wells Ghost, Prodigy Kaiser, PWG 56 66684. You might need to get some holy water on that one. RIZ 23, Score Sned, Simdir, Snit 9, Snipidge, Soy Soy, Stolio, Thunder Down Under, Turtle Milker, Who's This, and Wildman AJ. Oh, it's Wildman AJ. I thought it was Wildman J. Yeah, that's the whole 2VEMENT family thus far.
Right. So if you're If you're watching this on YouTube, you see our Discord link on the screen. If you want to join the faction,
Yeah.
join us on Discord. You'll be automatically joined into the Friends of Tubement section of our
Hmm.
Discord server. Say hello and just let us know that you'd like to join the faction and send us a request in game. We'll get you in. And again, we're looking for people that are active in the game, looking
Hmm.
to grow and level their roster, aren't necessarily enthused about the stress of faction feud, but still, would love to participate if they want. If not, that's fine too. We don't have any roster requirements or anything like
Nope.
that. We just have a few basic rules. Join Discord, request one heal at a time, be
Yep.
respectful, and it's really as simple as that. We're looking
Yeah.
for mature, friendly people to be a part of our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. And real quick before we go, I've always wondered, where did you get your name from? What does that mean?
Oh, it's from a song by Disturbed, and I've
Ah.
typically, over the course of my gaming career, I've gone with different handles based on songs that were kind of significant to me at that era and time. So,
Hmm.
once upon a time, it was No Leaf Clover. Then I remember I had Perfect
Oh.
Insanity for a little while. I think that's my Xbox handle, for instance. Um, and I think I was actually trying to use Perfect Insanity in this game, except that it was too long. So I was like, well, I got to pick a different
Oh.
name. Um, and I think the same thing happened to me in Overwatch. So in Overwatch, I go by Vengeful One, and here I was like, fine, I'll go. I'll also use Vengeful One. So yeah, it's kind
Uh,
of like my pick me up, gym song kind of thing. So,
got it.
but
Got it.
yeah, and I figured as far as the Sting icon, kind of appropriate. Remember, I was a big fan of Sting in the
Yeah.
mid '90s. So that
Yeah.
was that was a really good time in wrestling. But anyway,
It
so
really
that's where it
was.
comes from.
Okay, man. Great podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed listening. Hopefully we can make more of these. Good night and good luck. Why did I say good luck?
Peace.
Just bye.
Goodbye.